Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Final Point Podcast. I'm your host, Adriel, with my co host, Josh, in the building here today. Tonight's floor plan will be the following. We're going to start off with the finalists for the NBA Cup. We're going to talk about the crazy curse that's going on with Philadelphia
Did you say
currently.
curse?
Yeah, they're definitely cursed for sure. Um, and then we're going to talk about possible trades with New Orleans because a lot of the stuff coming out there seems um, pretty apparent lately, and the Lakers being god awful. And we're going to also touch on Atlanta's young youth going on. They've been super great this year. So let's start off with
Yes, sir.
our NBA Cup finalists from watching the games the other day. And I'm going to get up the bracket now so we can go ahead and take a look at what we got. And here we go. Well, you said you had the Bucks coming out, didn't you? Or no, or what was it? A Thunders and Knicks is what we said last.
I believe I did say that the Knicks would edge out the Bucks.
Hmm.
I wasn't expecting the Knicks to lose to the Hawks.
Let's be for real though. If the Magic were just a little bit healthier, I think they take that. It led to Wendell Carter falling asleep on by baseline and let Dame just get that easy two, and it was over pretty much
Yeah,
after that.
the had the Magic been healthy, I think that this bracket favored them. The Celtics were not in it. The Cavs were not in it. So if the Magic managed to get to where they were at healthy, yeah, I think they could easily took it.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's just there seems like there's a lot of curses going on this year. Just so much unfortunate happenings around the NBA. Like
Injury
the
bug.
Magic, yeah, the Magic were off to such a good start this year, man. It's just kind of sad to see, but um,
But
the
isn't that
Bucks made
crazy?
it.
It always ends up being that way. There's always
Oh
one
yeah,
or two teams that end up being derailed by injuries.
it's like the NBA is just an attrition game, pretty much. It's just who can really stand to the last man standing. But
Who's
the
the better healthy team?
Yeah, and that Hawks game was very interesting. Again, we're gonna touch on the Hawks later, but I really like that duo between Dyson Daniels and Jalen Johnson. They are standout players. But I mean, we weren't surprised with the Thunder game. I will say the Rockets Warriors game was pretty intense. I did not see that coming. Uh, they were able to fend off the Warriors at that fourth quarter.
This the Rockets. I have to check their stats for close games, like in the fourth quarter that they end up winning, because they can get under your skin. They're scrappy. They're long on defense. Besides, um Van Fleet, but everyone else is long. So they can get under you. They can win some close games. So I'm curious to see how many close games they've won by just edging it out towards the end, like they did with that Warriors game.
Yeah, it all comes from the defensive mind of Ime Udoka
Yeah.
is what has really transformed that Rockets team, um, and also their young talent. They got some great, outstanding players down there too. But we all knew what was coming. The Thunder came in and took care of business like they always do so far this year. And again, I got the Thunder coming out over the Bucks. I think they will handle them very swiftly.
Swiftly.
Swiftly, efficiently.
I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know if it's gonna be swiftly, man.
I will give credit to the Bucks though. The last couple games they have been playing, the Giannis and Dame duo is finally clicking. I'll give it to them. They've played a lot better.
Yeah,
But
I think they're like 10-2 in their last
yeah,
12 games, but I don't think it's gonna be swiftly. Do you think that the Bucks and Doc Rivers may have found something here?
Between them,
Well, I mean, just the way they are playing, because I was watching that game versus the Hawks, and they looked like, at first, like last season when they first acquired Dame, the offense looked a little lost. Dame didn't know where, Dame and Giannis were kind of choosing on who's going to score. Remember, I remember
hmm
we touched on that. But now this season, especially these past couple games, like you just said, I mean, they're playing great. It seems like they found some sort of continuity, some good chemistry. You got Dame and Giannis both going off for 25 plus every night. Maybe the Bucks found something, right? Maybe this is the Bucks team that everyone was anticipating was going to show up.
I just personally don't think the team is
I
that
know
good
you don't
collectively.
because you want to be top three, but
No, no,
that's what I'm
no, no,
trying to
no.
say.
It's not. It's
we
not
all
about that.
thought we all thought that it was going to be Boston, right? We didn't expect the Cavs either. Definitely, it was Boston, Milwaukee,
I don't think anybody
New York.
expected the Cavs to come out that
That's what
quick.
I'm saying. So, I know you don't think so, but it is looking like that, right?
Um, as of right now, yeah, they are
Yeah,
moving in the right direction now. Like I said, I'm going to give them credit because they've been playing very, very
they
good
have.
lately. Probably their best basketball of the season. Um, but I just think the Thunder just, I don't know. There's something about that team with me is every single time I see them play, they're just playing winning basketball right now, high level. They're all really young, athletic.
If well, I'm gonna use this game to sort of gauge to see how the Thunder will look against top East elite teams, because we both can
Yeah.
say that the Milwaukee Bucks are, amongst the top teams in the East, whether their record reflects that or not. But just to gauge this game to see how good are the Thunder, and will they just dominate the Bucks and make it look easy? Because if that's the case, then the only hope of keeping that O'Brien trophy in the East is going to be the Boston Celtics, because I think we're the only team equipped to beat them. If it looks like it's not even close, have the Thunder played the Heat this season?
I don't think so. I think they play them soon though. I think
Okay,
it's coming up.
and have the Thunder play the Knicks? And let's find out what that record is, because I mean, if there's no one really in the East that can compete with them, and I mean, we can argue that maybe they're not even the top team in the West.
Actually, yeah, the Thunder have played the Knicks. They play the Heat in January. And the Thunder won both games. One by 9 and the other one by 1.
Look at that. So, listen, I mean, whoever comes out of the East, it's going to be no picnic. They're going to have their hands full with whoever comes out of the West. That's for
For
sure.
sure. For sure. Yeah, that's definitely for sure.
Do you think people are sleeping on the Phoenix Suns? Because it seems like they're not really getting any love right now. I know they've been doing some injuries, but we talk about the Thunder coming out of the West. Are we really thinking it's going to be the Thunder and the Rockets as the
Uh
threats in the West? Are the Rockets that
I
good?
think I think the Thunder without KD
Right.
is obviously not that great of a team, but with KD on the team at the right time, I think they can still be a problem over there in the West. So you can't count them out. I'll say that.
Yeah. But yeah, it looks interesting. I got the I want to keep the vote in the East. I'm gonna go Bucks.
All right. Well, we got to see what goes on Tuesday then. Uh, I'm going for Thunder. You got Bucks. We'll see. Let's move on to our next topic. The Philadelphia curse, my friends. We've arrived. What
All
is up with this
right.
team? What is up with this team? It's like
It just seems like, listen, it's
it's bad
I
luck,
think
man.
it's come to the point where Joel Embiid needs to realize that there's no more cartilage. There's no more cartilage left in his knee. I think that ship has sailed. Joel Embiid can't stay healthy for more than 5 games, a 5 game stretch. He just can't.
And
And
now with
I
a
know that's
face
a
injury.
right. And he is, yes, not even getting to that. He just doesn't even look like the same player as he did 2 3 years ago. I think maybe the Joel Embiid ship has sailed. They are cursed. They gambled with Paul George. They really thought he was going to be healthy. That hasn't worked out too well. I can applaud the effort because I'm gonna tell you this, hey Joe, there's a lot of teams in the league that don't do that effort. Like the Bulls, like
Yeah.
you know, um,
The
the Hornets
Pistons.
come to mind. That they don't really care if they put a winning product out there. So at least the Sixers are trying. I mean, they
Yeah.
got 3 max contracts right now, and it has not worked out well for them.
It just sucks. And then now the Jared McCain news is
Oh,
that's like
Jared
so
McCain, I found out today. Yeah, that's
yeah,
crazy,
that
man. And
is
and
so
he was
deflating as a
and
team.
and he was a
Their brightest
sneaky
spot.
rookie of the year candidate.
Yeah, for sure. For
Um,
sure.
I
I,
still think he'll do TikTok videos, but I think he's out of the running
yeah, I
for rookie of the year. But I something tells me we will still see that guy.
yeah, yeah. Well, maybe later on to the ending of the year or so, but
Right. No, I'm talking about in your algorithm with the stupid videos. That guy. But yeah, man, it's you know, it seems like a curse. But
shout out to all the Philly fans. I know you guys are hurting right now.
yeah, but you know what? I mean, let's be honest, man. If it was the other way around, they wouldn't give a fuck how we
That's
feel
true.
about anything.
Yeah, that's probably
So
true.
you're cursed. You deserve it. You fucking Philly fans. You rude as shit. And listen, I hope they get healthy soon.
Let's move on now to the next team. We got the New Orleans Pelicans.
I already think they are, man. I think it's already happening.
Now, what I have been seeing is I'm gonna bring up this article as well, so we could take a look at it too. But I've seen people say they should build around Zion and oh my God, Murray, and I don't know if that's a great pairing really, but I mean this is one that was on New York
Hmm.
Times today. This is a trade. They wanted to basically proposing a trade for Brandon Ingram. Um, I don't know how you feel about Brandon Ingram. I feel indifferent about him. I just feel like he needs to be a change of scenery. But I also have high questions about his motor and efficiency when he's playing in these games. Like, is to me, he's not your all-star, all-being player, you go after, in my opinion.
Are you saying that he doesn't move the needle?
Correct.
Right. It depends the situation that he goes to. I do think that he does move the needle on the right in the right situation. I think Brandon Ingram would have worked out better up in Sacramento over DeMar DeRozan, even though DeMar DeRozan is doing great, but Ingram's more of a volume shooter, and he'll do good in a system where you already have a few 3-point shooters. That's the system that Brandon Ingram would thrive in, where he got that kind of mid range. He actually wouldn't be bad in Miami.
Yeah, he's always been he's the kind of the Bradley Beal sense that it always comes up in trade rumors all the time.
Right. That Brandon Ingram and Bam Adebayo pick and roll doesn't sound too bad.
I agree, but I mean, from what I've seen of him, it's he kind of falls in the same category of Zach Levine right now, where it is a 50-50. You may get greatness, you may get nothing out of like a trade of that caliber. For teams like the Heat or teams like, let's say, for example, Charlotte or whatever, making a trade for Brandon Ingram probably makes the most sense. But I mean, at this moment, I'm not sure what is really going on over there in New Orleans, especially with Brandon Ingram's case of being there. I mean, this is a player who's I don't even know how much he's getting paid. Oh, his $36 million contract. So $36 million Brandon Ingram.
That's what I'm
Not
saying, dude. He's getting paid. I mean,
yeah.
and he's dropping buckets. We just don't notice it because it's the Pelicans, so we don't really notice it, I guess. But I mean, he is getting buckets. It's just hasn't worked out in New Orleans. The Brandon Ingram project has failed. Time to move on. He can be a good piece on another team. One team that comes to mind for Brandon Ingram, and it would depend on whether or not this team wants to build around LaMelo Ball, would be the Charlotte Hornets
Hmm.
for Brandon Ingram. That makes sense too because it gives LaMelo some help. But you got to keep Brandon Miller. That's the
Yeah.
only catch is that Brandon Miller cannot be included in that deal, and it'd have to be some sort of sign and trade with New Orleans. But maybe they can make that work. But that would be a trade if you're Charlotte and you're trying to keep Lamelo, make that deal. Try to keep Brandon Ingram. I mean, try to keep Brandon Miller, and then build around that trio. Now you got something.
Hmm. And we already know too. New Orleans doesn't want to get rid of Trey Murphy. That's someone that could take Brandon Miller. I'm sorry, not Brandon Miller. Brandon Ingram's slot in New Orleans. So I mean, this trade is very viable for the Pelicans. Uh, I guess we're just gonna have to see time and tell. December
Yeah,
15th. But let's move on now to. I don't even want to move on to this topic just because of the team, but man, the Lakers have been just
pretty bad.
very bad. But I feel like this is for the last 3 years now. This has kind of been every NBA season where they go off for like a bad or mediocre start for the most part, and then kind of creep in there at the very last second, kind of like the Heat. Very similar,
Kind of like the Heat, but
but at least the Heat get is a little bit more enjoyable to watch.
well, one thing for sure is that the Lakers and the Heat share. They have something in common: the question of whether or not to blow it up, because both
Mhm,
teams have underperformed the past few years. Now, the difference with the Lakers is, I think their primary focus is, I don't think, should be keeping Anthony Davis. They should look to move Anthony Davis now and bring in some young pieces. Try to pull a OKC type rebuild where you get back a potentially budding star. Maybe you can get lucky like a Shea with OKC. But that's the only hope right now for the Lakers. They don't have what it takes right now. And listen, watching that game, it seems to me like Austin Reeves kind of lost a little bit. Remember, Austin Reeves was balling last season. It seems to me like he hasn't really got it this season. Watching that game, he wasn't taking the shots that he normally takes. Okay, why isn't he more of a vocal point in the offense? That I don't know. But maybe JJ, of course, JJ Redick knows more than me. I'm sure there's a reason behind it, but I would have thought Reeves would have had a bigger role this season, right? I mean, coming
Um,
off the Olympics.
I thought so too, but I also think he might have regressed a bit this year with his shooting, which is probably causing him to be a little bit more hesitant with the ball. And I also think just the offense, the way they run it sometimes, because they even when they run it, they're so uh like lazy, just very like kind of lazy, no motor. You know what I mean? They're not fun to watch at all.
No,
It's just very horrid basketball half the time. Um, And I feel bad for Braun and I feel bad for AD because they're still playing at high levels, even though we don't know what's going on with Braun right now. Um, but either way, guys, let's be real. You Laker fans out there, you guys really thought this team was going to be something? Come on.
Yes, they did think that, and they still do. By the way, they still think that they have a shot.
Yeah, even before this season, I did not think this team was going to be any good.
No.
But I am with you. They should most definitely. I think this is a time to reshuffle the cards.
Listen, you know how much they can get back for AD
Uh, times 100 Rudy Gobert trades, probably.
if Rudy Gobert's worth that. I mean, what are we doing for AD?
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying, man. I mean,
If
there's value there. A lot of value. Take it.
if Mikal Bridges is worth that much, what is AD worth?
And it also would be, where would AD want to go?
That too.
You know what
There,
I'm saying? I mean,
it's
it's yeah.
complications on both sides. We'll see. We'll keep a watch on to see what's going on with the Lakers. Let's go ahead and talk about Atlanta because Atlanta has impressed me a lot this year. I did not see this young core performing the way they've been performing this year. I mean, I am in love with Dyson Daniels. His game is crazy, leading the NBA right now in steals. And Jalen Johnson is a double machine. It is every night, night in, night out, double doubles. And honestly, Trey has been playing very well this year. I still think he gets hunted very badly against those top defensive teams, and he kind of goes into a shell bit. But I really, for the most part, this team it just got heart, and with DeAndre Hunter now coming back, playing a little bit better, falling into the offense. Who everyone I know, everyone in Atlanta has been waiting for DeAndre Hunter. I still like him too as a player. He has a lot of upside, but yeah, I just wanted to talk about them, say those things about that because they've been playing high level basketball.
Yeah, this is the so the this is the most ideal situation that the Atlanta Hawks could have had after trading DeJounte Murray and sort of sticking with the Trey Young thing, because they knew what they had with Jalen Johnson, and it just so happened to be they had Dyson Daniels, and we all were well. Everyone was hoping DeAndre Hunter would turn into what he's done, but I think that's the biggest surprise of the season for me with the Hawks is how well DeAndre Hunter's playing. I mean, he's shooting 44% from three. I mean, and he looks good
Hmm.
doing it. I mean, and when you add him to the height and length of Jalen Johnson, the height and length of Dyson Daniels, and then you got Bogey. He's 6'4", 6'5", 6'6". They're just long, and Clint Capella, they're just long, and then Trey Young is it's the perfect lineup for him because now he can disguise. They can switch. And he doesn't really have to be exposed too much because there's so much length everywhere else. I like this team. They really showed up, and the Atlanta Hawks are here to stay. I think they're gonna be in the mix. I believe they're gonna be in the mix come playoff time if everyone's healthy.
I've been thinking the same thing
Yeah,
lately as well. Just with the way it's usually between those two now, and
they're
I feel
legit,
like
man.
I
Yeah,
feel like Trey Young doesn't even have to. Well, he also obviously he's a part of the offense, but I feel like Trey doesn't have to do those one man army type offenses that he was so used to doing a couple years ago. Now he's got guys that can handle the load, and then defensively, I mean, these guys are long. Like I said, Dyson Daniels leading the NBA in steals, and he's a big guard too to cover. So yeah, I actually really like this team. Um, and I do think they're going to be a part of the playoffs for sure.
make it interesting.
Yeah, most definitely. This team is here to stay. But that is everything we have for you
Yes,
guys
sir.
today on the Final Point podcast. Thanks for having us, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Peace.